Inside Stutthof Concentration Camp, a haunting place located east of the city of Danzig, a group of female guards played a horrifying role in inflicting brutality and suffering on a daily basis. Many women from the local area responded to the SS call and joined the ranks of the camp's staff. While some were driven by financial incentives, others sought personal advancement within the SS hierarchy and reveled in the power to make people suffer. Throughout the camp, executions were carried out, resulting in the deaths of approximately 65,000 individuals. As the Second World War drew to a close, some of the guards, including numerous women, faced their own executions. These grim spectacles often took place on a large hill near the camp, witnessed by crowds of around 200,000 people. Among those executed on the gallows was Elizabeth Becker, a notorious figure known for her evil deeds within the camp. Despite her young age of 22, she played a central role in sentencing countless individuals to death, wielding her power with malevolence. Discover the full story of the female brute of Stutthof and support our channel by subscribing. Elizabeth Becker, born on July 20, 1923, in Neustadt, Danzig, hailed from a German family and became a member of the League of German Girls as the Nazis ascended to power. The League of German Girls, BDM, served as the exclusive female youth organization within Nazi Germany. With over 4.5 million compulsory members at its peak, the BDM aimed to indoctrinate and manipulate young girls into embracing Nazi ideologies and conforming to the prescribed roles in society as wives, mothers, and housewives. Hitler's objective was to encourage women to bear as many children as possible for the Reich, ensuring their loyalty to the dictator and the Nazi Party. Girls within the BDN were subjected to intense propaganda, including the memorization and singing of Nazi songs. They were also compelled to participate in physical education, such as track and field, and engage in large-scale sports events. The BDM actively discouraged girls from rebelling against their parents, emphasizing loyalty to the Nazis over family ties. Additionally, they were obligated to serve a year of land service, working on farms, or in other roles to demonstrate their loyalty to the Nazi regime. As the outbreak of World War II occurred, the BDM justified the invasion of Poland as punishment for those deemed subhuman. The intensification of propaganda during this period influenced some BDM members to pursue careers within the Nazi Party's industries, including the SS and even inside concentration camps. One notable example is Irma Gries, known as the Beautiful Beast. Her involvement in the League of German Girls led to her expulsion from the family home, as her loyalty to Hitler surpassed her loyalty to her own family. Later on, Elizabeth Becker would join the concentration camp labor force and become a notorious guard. Some girls, on the other hand, volunteered for the German war effort in various roles such as nurses, aides in hospitals, anti-aircraft defenders, flat helpers, and searchlight operators. Elizabeth Becker's indoctrination into the Nazi ideology likely began at a young age, as she joined the League of German Girls at 13 and became a devoted Nazi. Her family might have shared similar beliefs. In her hometown of Danzig, she initially worked as a tram conductor at the age of 15 in 1938. Later, she found employment as an agriculture assistant in a different firm. However, as the tide of war turned against the Nazis and there was a shortage of male personnel for the concentration camps, the SS started recruiting German women through advertisements in local towns and cities. Elizabeth Becker and many other women from Danzig responded to this call. While it is unclear whether she was conscripted or volunteered, she was assigned to work at Stutthof. Stutthof Concentration Camp was initially established to house Polish people following the invasion of Poland. It was converted into a concentration camp in 1942, surrounded by barbed wire and featuring 8 barracks for inmates. Subsequently, the camp was significantly expanded, adding 30 new barracks, a crematorium, and a gas chamber in 1943. The gas chamber at Stutthof was designed to facilitate efficient and rapid executions of prisoners capable of holding up to 150 people at a time. While the camp staff predominantly consisted of men, there were also several notorious women among them, including Hertha Bode and Jenny Wanda Barkman, known for their brutal treatment of inmates. As time passed, large transports of both women and men arrived at Stutthof from other camps, most notably Auschwitz. The conditions in Stutthof were incredibly harsh, leading to the death of tens of thousands of prisoners due to starvation and rampant disease epidemics. Executions were a common occurrence at Stutthof, with dozens of prisoners being shot on sight and thousands being subjected to mass slaughter in the gas chamber. In addition to the systematic killings, medical staff at the camp would inject sick inmates with fentanyl, causing their deaths. Guards also resorted to violent beatings, resulting in the fatal injuries of many prisoners. The forced labor imposed on inmates at Stutthof was accompanied by horrific conditions, with prisoners receiving insufficient rations for the demanding tasks they were forced to perform. Among the guards, Elizabeth Becker gained a reputation for her brutal and merciless nature. even at a young age, instilling fear in the women under her watch who dared not meet her gaze. As an ardent Nazi, Becker actively participated in the selection process of inmates. During these selections, doctors and guards would identify the weakest individuals who were then swiftly transported to the gas chambers for execution. Becker played a role in these daily decisions, condemning numerous women and children to their deaths, effectively determining who would live and who would die. At the end of the war, many female guards, including Becker, faced trials and condemnation for their involvement in the selection process. However, Becker continued her work as a guard at Stutthof until she eventually fled on January 15, 1945, fearing capture by the advancing enemy forces. Some guards accompanying prisoners on death marches resorted to slaughtering the inmates. Becker's tenure at Stutthof lasted only about 4 months before she returned home in January 1945. 3 months later, Elizabeth Becker was arrested by the Polish police and prisoned awaiting trial. She became a defendant in the first Stutthof trial in Danzig, which aimed to hold accountable the guards who had served at the camp. Alongside 5 other women, including Jenny Wanda Barkman, Becker faced a judge as numerous witnesses testified, accusing her of exhibiting brutality towards inmates and participating in the selection of prisoners for the gas chambers. Elizabeth Becker was ultimately sentenced to death. During her trial, she confessed to selecting at least 30 women for execution in the gas chambers. After receiving her death sentence, Becker appealed to the Polish president for clemency through several letters. The court considered reducing her sentence to 15 years imprisonment, citing her shorter duration of service compared to others like Gerda Steenhoff and Jenny Barkman, who were deemed more culpable. However, the Polish president did not grant a pardon. On July 4, 1946, along with the other condemned guards, Elizabeth Becker was executed in front of a large crowd on Biskupia Gorka, a prominent hill. This site housed multiple gallows, towering wooden structures used for the hangings. On the hill, a crowd of 200,000 people had gathered to witness the executions. Elizabeth Becker was brought forward alongside the other guards, instructed to climb onto a truck where the executioners stood. One of them read aloud the death sentence, and preparations were made as the truck backed up under the gallows. A noose was placed around the gallows, and an executioner assisted Elizabeth onto a step while the noose was tightened around her neck. After all the final checks were completed, the truck drove away, leaving Elizabeth alone on the scaffold high above the vast crowd. Within minutes, she was executed and pronounced dead. At only 22 years old, Elizabeth Becker had perpetrated acts of cruelty and brutality against those who were already suffering. She was responsible for the deaths of at least 30 women and was observed selecting numerous individuals to be sent to the gas chambers. Despite appeals for clemency, she was regarded as a brutal guard who had been indoctrinated by the Nazis through her education and forced participation in youth groups. As a war criminal, her actions directly contributed to the execution of others, leaving the Polish court to believe that she deserved the same fate. On that day in Danzig, her execution was witnessed by a crowd of 200,000 people. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, and if you like this video, make sure to subscribe for future updates. Have a good day.